And so for this match here, we have a match between the TheKajdanPL and Met. These are two players who just joined the SCL very recently. Signups have been open for a while now, and they joined and they got slotted in to the lowest division in the league, which is Oak Division.
Yeah, and a big part of that is just, a lot of these Oaks players, and we just want to say, each division, they all have pretty good players. And I think Oak, maybe not having the, say, best players, but I think they have the fastest growth, which is always really cool to look at Oak and to see, okay, they started the season like this, and now they learned and grew a lot as they played the competitive season. So I think it's definitely probably the fastest growing divisions.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're here for. We are hoping to help not just these two Oak players grow, but we're hoping to help all players grow. And so, like you said, players can get good very fast. Sometimes you have prodigies. In this case, we're hoping that these two are not prodigies, though I don't mean any offense by that. But we are hoping that we might see some common beginner mistakes here so that we can help guide people through them.
Absolutely. And that's, I think this is one of the allures to Spy Party, but there's a ton of depth. We tried to make last set sound as simple as possible, but there is a ton of depth. And as you play players who have played it more, that depth becomes just common knowledge to them. And so that's what we're kind of trying to hope to share the second match of the game. Of the game?
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see some great plays here that we can congratulate them on and explain why they worked. And if we run into any plays that do not work, we can hopefully explain why as well. So let's get into the draft here. This time we are going to go through all of the picks and bans. So we have Kajdan banning first, and Kajdan is choosing to ban Redwoods.
Yeah, and so this is what I say. I want to say this is the first, and this is the most important. This is a great decision, by the way. So mostly because if you're a new player, even kind of a veteran player, we got to see Redwood's last set. It's just really hard to see. You can't see anything in Redwood. So as a new player, as a sniper, it can just be really overwhelming. So I'd say that's a good ban if you're just getting into the game.
Yeah, and then from Met, we have a ban of high rise. And so if we're analyzing, why might a player ban high rise? I would say one of the reasons why people might not feel comfortable with it is because high rise is what is known as a soft tell variant. In other words, the spy only has to do 3 missions, not 4, which means it's very easy for the spy to finish with just flirt, contact, and maybe inspecting the statues or fingerprints. So it can
Yeah,
be very hard to differentiate between, is this person who went to center statues the spy finishing missions, or is it just an AI? You have to be really on top of your flirt, and you also just have to be really on top of, spy like behavior and just sort of getting a read on if it's the spy or not. A lot of players have difficulty with that. And if you are one of those players, you might want to consider banning high rise.
Yup. On high rise, it's just a lot of times civilians can get shot because, it really is if somebody goes to middle statues or if somebody does finish statues, that's not the spy. All the spy has to do really is say banana bread when that person's in a conversation circle. And so it definitely can pays off to have high rise banned.
And so for restrictions, we have Kajdan choosing to restrict library, any 5 of 8, and Met is going to be restricting the new pub variant, any 3 of 6.
Yeah, so it looks like we have kind of met trying to ban out one of some of the smaller venues here. And Cashdown bans, we haven't seen any 5 of 8s tonight, but 5 of 8s basically you have to finish 5 of the missions. And again, a 5 of 8 can be really overwhelming. There's a lot going on. It's big. It's a lot to track. So I think again, pretty good restricts and bans from these players.
And so let's move on to our picks here. Kajdan is going to be starting us off with some doubled aquarium.
Ooh. Ooh, now this is interesting because we have occlusion on redwoods with trees blocking things, but for some reason we're going to be picking, aquarium now, where we have a large shark blocking it. But I think it's just a fun venue, a fun one to play. So that's our first double there.
And speaking of fun venues, we have Met doubling Ballroom, which is the most classic venue in the game. It was the first venue, and I'm glad to see it because I think it'll be a good opportunity to talk about a lot of Spy Party mechanics.
Yeah, it really is a staple. And it's just a venue where it's like I think it's a staple because it's just fair. It's equal. The spy can win, the sniper can win, and it's got everything in it, the whole shebang.
And then for the single picks, we have Kajdan picking Terrace. Uh, I think that's a fantastic pick. Your opponent just banned and restricted the other 3 out of X venues. And it makes total sense to pick the other one. Meanwhile, Met has picked Library, which is what Kajdan restricted. So
Wow.
both of these players use their single picks to pick what they believe is a perceived weakness in their opponent.
Yup. And so they basically take, those first starts of the bands and you can see, okay, what's this person not comfortable playing with? And do I feel comfortable on it? Because if so, let's go for it. Let's try to punish them on something they're not comfortable playing. And that's what we got to see in this draft section.
Yeah, and I think Kajdan actually made a really smart choice here because, if you're thinking the most straightforward, you think, oh, Met restricted pub. I should pick pub. But actually, Met banned high rise, and the venue the most similar to high rise is terrace. So that's just a really smart pick. And I'm hoping that Kaj is able to take advantage of it and get, 2 points there for it. But we're a long way away from that. We have to start with the doubled aquarium. Let's head into our first game here. We have Kajdan playing as Wheels, getting started in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, and so like we got to see from last match, we'll get to see if they really decide to choose to chase flirt earlier, if they try to do something. And the interesting mechanic here on this venue is that the shark follows a pattern of going from the bottom to the middle, to the top, to the top, to the middle, to the bottom, to the bottom. And so there's a lot of plays where the shark is kind of blocking things, and it just gives a lot of opportunities for the spy to finish things.
Yeah, but in this case, we're not doing a mission behind the shark. We went over to the bookcase to do the microfilm here, and we actually committed what many people believe is a sort of etiquette error. When we went to the bookshelf, there were already 2 people there. Now, the bookshelf pad is not that big, and it's very hard to fit 3 people on it. It's often going to look very crowded if you do that. Some snipers believe that if they see 3 people at a bookcase, it
Oh no.
guarantees that one of them is the spy. Now, that's not necessarily true. If the spacing between all 3 people is okay, then it's not a problem, but I would still suggest avoiding being the third person at a bookcase in as many situations as possible. Only do it if you absolutely need to.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily something you shoot for, but it's something that you definitely notice on the sniper side. Now, after that, we went to statues, and it definitely missed the pad, that's obviously a tell if you missed the pad. But now we're going to the bar, and we're taking the option to be able to purloin.
Yep, we're going to be moving here to the center conversation. We are not right next to the seduction target, but we're still going to be able to get a decent flirt. We're up to 45%. Now on Aquarium, it's not that bad to be too slow with your flirts because you do have a lot of time. So I'm not super worried about it, but it could start to become a problem. Now it's really good that we got away with the microfilm there the first time in full view, because now if we go and finish it behind the shark later, the sniper is not going to be thinking like, oh, they've been behind the shark twice at the bookcases. So we won't be as much of a suspect for it, maybe.
Yeah, and honestly, things are looking pretty good. Now, I'm not going to say we did it super bad there, but another thing you have to watch out for is that a lot of times the AI will avoid walking through the center of a conversation circle. And so there, we kind of cut in the middle there, and that can be
Banana
noticed by the
bread.
sniper as well.
Ooh, fake banana bread coming off from Kajdan. I'm going to say this is actually a good choice. We were in a
Yep.
conversation with one other person. We don't look like we're faking. A wrong arm hug
Wow.
passing behind the ambassador as well. Very well done.
Yeah, and that was actually a sick play there. And now we are heading into our second microfilm, and this looks kind of dangerous. I'd almost prefer this to be behind the shark here, but we'll see if they get punished. It's a green test, and I think that's going to be another mission complete.
Wow, I mean, that's bold play, doing two microfilms not behind the shark. But, counterintuitively, you might say that's the best time to do it
Yeah,
because the sniper assumes the spy won't do it behind the shark. In this case, it did work out for Kajdan. And just to go back to that bug play, I think the contact was really good. There were two conversations, both with SDAs, full of people. I think the sniper was just looking at those conversations, watching who was moving out of them. They were not looking at us. It was the perfect time to go for a bug. Very, very
interesting.
well done.
And here, I'm not sure. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure how I feel about this play right here. I think it looks bad at the end of the game going to statues, obviously. But I think what we could have done is we could have grabbed an inspect instead of a swap, and it might have just been we're missing our action test. But yeah, we swap instead of going back and finishing our flirt.
Yeah, unfortunately, the pacing that we were worried about with the flirt at the start came back to bite us. I don't think it was unsalvageable. I think if we had
Mm-mm.
done the inspects, if we had put that statue down right there, we would have had 20 seconds to go get the flirt. And the seduction target was in conversation. Now, here's the thing. I think what can go through a spy's mind at that point is, oh, it's going to be so obvious if I like run right over to the ST and I talk immediately, I might get shot for it. But I think you have a higher chance of getting shot for doing the swap. Like, you would be amazed what the sniper does not see during those last 20 seconds. They are watching for people finishing missions at mission sites. You can very easily get away with chasing a flirt in those last 15 seconds.
Yeah, and so if you have the option to choose between, a soft tell and a hard tell, which a soft tell would be again, doing the inspects and then doing finishing a flirt, I would definitely go with the soft tell over the hard tell. But here, yeah, maybe we felt that threat or maybe we felt the crunch on time and we decided to do a swap.
Yeah, now it doesn't apply in every case. You have to decide on a case by case basis how suspicious you are and if you think the sniper will see it. But definitely keep in mind that, you can finish that flirt sometimes and the sniper will not see it in those last 20 seconds. We're moving on now. We have Met here playing as Plane Twin, starting in three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, and so I'll say honestly that game wasn't too bad on the spy side and on the sniper side as well. Good to be looking at kind of those hard tell areas in the last couple seconds because if the timer hasn't stopped now, they're probably doing something at the end there.
And so here we are, we're starting off at the bar. There aren't too many people at the bar, but there's a nice handful of people. The other twin is here as well. That could be a potential source of confusion. If I were Met right now, I would be thinking maybe I can do the purloin if more people start going to the bar, but otherwise I think it might narrow down the party a bit too much.
Yeah, and this is something to kind of think about for the sniper side as well. And I had a hard time learning to do this, but and this is this is preference, personal preference. But if the beginning of the party has a lot of bar goers, as we saw here, I think we had 5 or 6 people go to bar. Sometimes it's more valuable just to highlight people at bar than if we have like 0 or 1 people go to statue. Just using those highlights as best as possible.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who advocate for flexible highlights like that, and I think that's very advanced. Well, I say very advanced. It's pretty advanced. You have to really be on top of your sniper play to be able to fluidly change them like that. Anyway, we did send Seek over to the bar to grab the list. I think that was an okay decision. There was a nice amount of people at the bar, but it doesn't go off in time, and I'm not too upset about that either.
Yeah, and I think it's what you need a minute between receiving the option to delegate to getting somebody at the bar, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. For a long time, I thought it was 45 seconds, so I'm glad that you clarified.
Yeah, and so here we go. We're picking up inspects. Another thing a lot of people kind of advocate for is that you want to get maybe a hard tell done before doing this, but it doesn't seem like our sniper is highlighting for inspects.
No, and the fact that we're one of the twins now, I think that could be very dangerous for the sniper because if we go back and finish inspects, I hope they know, is this the twin that started the inspects or is it the other one?
Yeah, with this being a kind of a, I'd say Spy Party is kind of it's a pretty big memory game. A lot of players just choose to use their highlights to help remember things such as statues. And so it's kind of hard to say. Let's say Met goes and does another statue. Do they get a highlight? Do they remember? But we'll have to see. And we actually get a nice bug there too, behind Shark.
Yeah, that was very, very well timed. It could have gone badly because we did it behind the tail of the shark, but the timing of it worked out just enough that the arm was not visible on screen, though you could still suspect the path. We head on over to the bookcase now. We are going to be taking a book out. I'm a little bit worried about this. Taking the book out at a minute 15 means returning it in about a minute. That's not a lot of time for the sniper to
And in the
forget
red.
about it.
Yeah, but it's not too bad of a play because if we look, the Shark is low right now. We would have a chance to go and dump the book maybe. But no, we decided to stay in conversation. And actually, as a sniper here, we decide to highlight people in conversation with contact.
That's a good choice, and it works out for us. We are just going to be returning the book innocently. I'm really worried about the pacing here. We've chosen not to do the microfilm, but that does mean that we have 28 seconds left to finish inspects. We can't even do the ones next to us. We don't want to go to the back statues because then it could look like we're swapping. So we're going over to these here, and I'm really worried that we are not going to have enough time to get the inspects done before reaching overtime. And oh, wow. Kajdan's not even giving us a chance.
Yeah, and so we got to see kind of not necessarily the same error, but both players kind of going to a statues late into the game, and both snipers being willing to snap on top of it. And so I don't know if that's necessarily a pacing thing, but I even find myself going to statues late because it can just seem so easy, or it can seem really bad doing statues back to back earlier in the game. But yeah, both snipers on top of their game there.
Yeah, and that bug was really well done from Met. I think the only reason that Kajdan was really able to take a confident shot was just A, because of the real BB highlights, and B, just because of the timing of going to those statues. Uh, Going to statues in the last 20 seconds, it just looks horrible. I really do think that you want to avoid it as much as possible, and that just comes down to pacing.
Yep. And so we'll get to see, this is the first game. I think a lot of things can happen in the first game because I know for me, that's probably where my nerves are the highest. And so I think, these snipers are kind of on point, but actually, the spies are playing pretty well.
Yeah, I think the spies are definitely playing pretty well. I mean, in that first game, Met had uh, a really good bug, and I guess Kajdan also, or sorry, I'm confusing my names. They both had really good bugs,
Yeah,
though.
their bugs were great. Yeah.
But they just let the sniper shoot them because they went to statues late. So we'll
Yep.
see if Kajdan can switch it up here. We're playing as Teal in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and I think this venue really does have a bunch of great options. We got to see in the very first spy game, we got to see the microfilm, and we get to see here. This is kind of on this venue, maybe the classic spot to do a kind of timeout in the back right corner, and we get a green timeout, or was that a white? I think it's a
It's a
green.
green. I think that's a pretty good time for it. Look at how many people are at the bar. I think that's what's going to be taking the sniper's attention, and I
Uh-huh.
don't think they're going to be watching for a time ad. This is just basically the key to doing anything as spy. You want to figure out what the sniper is going to be looking at so that you can do things when they're not looking at you. So a bar rush, you have two options. You either join the bar rush and blend in with them and do the purloin, or you just assume that the sniper is going to be distracted by the bar and you do something else.
Yeah, and I also see this as kind of Kajdan fixing a little bit of what they maybe saw wrong in their first spy game. We saw the kind of pacing led to the rush to go and do a swap instead of finishing flirt. And so adding that 45 seconds, is really going to give Kajdan some more flexible plays as the venue goes on.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't really think you need to time add on Aquarium just because you already have a lot of time. But by that same reasoning, it means the sniper might not be looking for it as much, so you can get away with it.
Yeah, and I think time ad is a good mission. Obviously, people can complain or not complain, but they can make cases for both sides of things. But when you do a time ad, it also allows the sniper to add suspicion to more people. Maybe more people go to statues, more people get prints, more people do this. And so it's definitely not a bad option at all.
Ooh, Kajdan went to the blue bookcase. They wanted to do a microfilm behind the shark. Unfortunately, they got there a bit too late. They weren't able to, and then the middle shark came in. Kajdan either realized that it was the wrong shark, but went for it anyway, or just misjudged the
Banana
position of the
bread.
shark.
Yeah, either way, not getting shot for it. And we enter this conversation. We do a quick banana bread, and there's not that many lowlights to be taken. So that's actually a pretty solid banana bread.
Yeah, I agree. Very nicely done. So looking at our mission progress now, we have the partial inspects. We've done one hardtell, half the microfilm. Luckily, we were not a highlight when we did it. If we finish the inspects, we could become a highlight. So I would maybe try to do the microfilm before finishing the inspects. But that's not what Kajdan's going for. We are going to be finishing the inspects. Let's see if we pick up the highlight
Nice.
for it.
And I do like this. I feel like this is kind of fixing maybe some of the earlier mistakes, getting things done. Our flirt's at 53 with 2 minutes left. We are doing our inspects in a timely manner, and now we won't have to go to statues, in the last couple, seconds of the game.
Yeah, that is important. And the microfilm, that's something that we can do behind the shark. So I would say Kajdan's game plan here is going to be finish the flirt and then just wait for that low shark and get the microfilm.
Yeah, and if we kind of look at the sniper side here, we're definitely focusing on kind of the people at that back statue. So I think Kajdan's looking pretty solid here.
Yeah, we timed it perfectly. There's the low shark right as we're at the
Wow.
bookcase. We're doing the microfilm behind the shark. And I think, yeah, we got that animation just in time, not visible at all. Met might have been watching it a little bit. Met hopefully knows that Teal has finished inspects and been to bookcase twice. But if Met had suspected those microfilms, that's when we would have been shot. Instead, we just go here to the bar, we get the
Wow.
last flirt, and there's no way that Met's going to be able to shoot.
I think that's a pretty clean game. From Kajdan's stance, I don't think there's anything necessarily that I would have changed or done any differently. I think the timing on the last microphone was really good. And that's just a well played game there, I think.
Yeah, that was very, very well done. And we're sort of seeing here the maybe benefits or drawbacks of statue height. I can't speak for Met because I don't know what was going through their mind, but the fact is that Teal did complete inspects. Even people who don't like highlighting for a first statue visit will often highlight for a second one because that means that that guest does have a mission done and you need to keep a really close eye. And for a lot of snipers, if someone has finished inspects and you know that they were at both bookcases and one of those times was like exactly when the shark was passing, that can be enough for a shot.
Bread.
Yeah, and it's just we got a lot of we got away with a lot of things without picking up a highlight. And now that doesn't necessarily mean like you could still be suspicious and not have a highlight, right? But from how I see it, we got a lot of things done and not much recognized.
Yeah, and we have Morinda in chat just asking us on average, does sniper or spy typically win? So it depends on the venue. A venue here like aquarium where the sniper's view is obscured by the shark, or somewhere like Redwoods where there's the trees in the way, or something like Tayan, it's a little bit more even. But on most of the venues, the sniper does tend to win more than the spy at higher skill levels. And the reason for that is people are just really good, and when they get really good at sniper, they just see everything. They are somehow able to keep their eyes on the ambassador while also watching the bar, while also memorizing everyone who's been to statues, while also memorizing everyone who has a fingerprint. I mean, these players' memories and attention spans are insane. I don't
Yeah, it's
even understand
ridiculous.
how they
Yeah.
do it, but they do. And so at higher levels, it's very common to see a set just trade sniper wins back and forth, back and
Yep.
forth.
Yep. And that's where it becomes kind of a different narrative where it's like, you know what, these players, they're fighting for a spy win. A spy win's a huge thing. But kind of for a lot of these games, it can be a lot of back and forth, sniper win, spy win, sniper, which is all important.
All right. Well, let's get into our next game here. We have Met playing as General, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Oh, General is probably, I think, maybe one of my favorite spies, just because I do like their walking bug. It's not super noticeable. Their hand only moves slightly. But kind of the downside of General is he's just tall. He's pretty tall, pretty big, pretty noticeable when he does something.
Yeah, we had the ambassador next to us right there, but unfortunately we were not able to bug because we had a drink. We showed restraint. We did not take it. We do have the seduction target next to us though, and we get a nice 51% flirt, and she leaves so that the timer can start resetting.
Yeah, and this is pretty nice. Now we're seeing Matt go to the book here, and I'm wondering if is this time? No, the shark's up top. So let's see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and this can be intimidating for newer players, but knowing your shark timings is just crucially important if you want to get spy wins against higher level snipers. You basically, if you plan on picking aquarium, you might want to go into practice mode and just kind of stand there and look at what the shark looks like from your point of view, depending on if you're at the front of the venue or at the back of the venue, because depending on where you are, the depth of it can kind of change what it looks like. And if you can just easily identify which level the shark is at, that's just going to be a huge bonus to your spy play.
Yep, and we walk into conversation right next to the bug. We don't, or right next to the ambassador. We don't take the bug as we're coming in. We actually wait, do the standing bug, and we already have a highlight. But I think that's from being at the bookcase earlier.
Yeah, I would say that's just another good bug behind the shark here. It wasn't visible. The only thing that's noticeable for the sniper is just noticing that, General did just go stand
Yep.
next to the ambassador while the ambassador was behind the shark. So good bug from Met and even better sniper play from Kajdan if they are crediting us with the bug there.
Yeah, and I was gonna say because for whatever reason, no matter why we have that highlight, we do have that highlight, and we did walk right up right next to the ambassador. And okay, I think this is the moment of truth here. Will we notice this at books?
Yeah, there's the book going in, and nope, we are not immediately shot for it. And if we're not immediately shot, that's usually a good sign.
Yeah.
If the sniper knew that that was the microfilm mission, they would immediately shoot you there, I think. We are going to go for the contact here. It's a good
Enemy
one.
in the
There's a
red.
lot of people in conversation. My guess is we're not going to be seeing a shot here.
Wow. And I'm curious as to what maybe we're looking. I'm curious as to what maybe that highlight was for earlier on. But Met comes back with a spy win of themselves.
Very, very nicely done. I think this is actually a very even matchup. Honestly, I'm seeing great play from both players on both sides here. The only real criticism we had was a little bit of the pacing leading to the late statue visits. But other than that, these players are doing good bugs, uh, good microfilms, and I don't blame the snipers for, missing some of these.
Yeah, their second spy games are totally different than their first ones in that they finished missions with plenty of time on the clock, and so maybe these spies are kind of just taking advantage of the snipers here a bit, but we'll see as the set goes on.
All right, we're going to be moving on to Ballroom now. This is the bread and butter of Spy Party play. Let's see what Kajdan has for us here, playing as Kane in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and this is just oh, I think we're starting right at center statues here, so a very hot start. And this one is just, yeah, it's just a lot different than Aquarium. You don't necessarily have Shark blocking you to be able to do missions, but you do have a pretty tight packed party a lot of the times.
Yeah, now it's possible that Kajdan has been looking at the replays between games and noticing that Met wasn't always highlighting for statues. At least I think that was Met. But Met is taking the highlight now. And so, Kajdan walking through the middle of conversation
Yep.
again after we just got highlight. This can be dangerous. And there's just a huge dilemma about if you should ever start by going to center statues. Because against many snipers, they're going to highlight you. And that means you're going to have to do all the rest of your missions with a big highlight.
Yeah, I almost think, especially maybe at earlier levels, I would almost be against going to early statues or middle statues early. I think maybe once you get a little higher level, it can be kind of like a mind to say, oh, I'm a spy, I know what I'm doing. There's no way I'd go and pick up this early highlight or go and do this. But I think at this level, it's just, hey, middle statues, I saw you there, boom, highlight. I'm gonna be watching you the rest of the game.
Yeah, a general rule of thumb, I would say, especially when you're at lower levels, but even up to intermediate, don't give the sniper any reason to shoot you. Just avoid it as much as possible. And getting a highlight for inspects is just kind of the easiest way to make yourself noticed.
Yeah, just because there's so many things that you have to do that are just going to be more noticeable with a highlight around you. For example, if we go for a microfilm here, it's going to be more noticeable to see the arm. If we went for a bug right there, more noticeable to see the arm. And so picking up that early highlight can really be damaging.
Yeah, and also just sometimes snipers don't see everything and they don't know what's going on, and sometimes they just feel panicked into taking a shot. And if you are someone who's been to center statues, you're just giving them a reason to
Yep.
shoot you. Even if you don't even do anything else, if the sniper, reaches 15 seconds and thinks I have to shoot someone, they might just shoot you for going to center statues. So that's what I mean when I say don't give them a reason.
Yeah, there's like a lot of people who are advocates for like, oh, you should only shoot once they're at like 4 missions or all of this. And honestly, a lot of times that doesn't happen. That's not the case. So I could easily see, you know what, if we do a contact here and we were at center statues, there very likely could be a shot coming off on us.
Yeah, SpyParty is basically a very delicate balance between trusting your sniper and also not trusting them. Sometimes you need to play with the mindset of they're not going to see anything. Other times you need to play with the mindset of no, they will see this.
Yep, and here we go. Going to do our, I guess this is technically our first hardtail, but we are just bringing the book right over and dumping it. And I don't think, is it noticed? I don't think so. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, and if we want to take a look and analyze what maybe went wrong there, I mean, the first thing is just, the sniper just saw us at the shelves and remembered it. And the second thing, though, is, when we went to put it back, we wanted to go onto the same pad as general, but it seems like we got worried because we didn't want to be two people at a bookshelf. So we stopped at the painting pad instead. And then we just decided to jam ourselves in there anyway. I think that just maybe brought a bit more attention to us.
Yeah, and this is kind of a side note, but I saw this actually last there's a copper game, but I don't know if this is a bug, but I think you get stuck on this pad if you try walking this lane to get into the books there. So, because I remember seeing this last week in the copper as well, and I put it in the bugs and reports. So maybe we honestly got stuck here as we were trying to
Yeah.
jam ourselves, and we had to kind of redo it. Because you see we got stuck sideways.
Yeah, that is true. If you get stuck sideways like that for a moment, instead of immediately rotating to fit the pad, it does mean that you're trying to continue walking. So I think you're right. We were trying to get all the way on the pad. This brings us to another question you often have to ask yourself as a spy. If I'm going for something and I blunder it by, missing a pad or some etiquette error, do I just continue doing the thing or do I give up and go do something else?
Yeah, it really depends. There's been times where, sometimes doing something that's non-AI like a mistake, sometimes that looks AI like because you think to yourself, why would the spy do it? But it's all just thinking about it. A lot of times you just get shot for. So there's no direct answer. I just say follow your heart.
All right. Well, with that, Met gets another sniper point. And we are now going to be moving on to Met's spy game here, playing as Disney in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
All right, now starting out as Disney, we're kind of just taking a second to see what's happening at the party, analyze things. I know this just happens a lot. You just want to kind of see what options are available. We see that our seduction target's at the windows. Good job not going and chasing it, because a lot of times the people will go to their seduction target at windows, not realizing that their seduction target's probably going to leave the windows before you even get there. So a good job to kind of wait until she gets into a conversation circle, and then we can attack and flirt.
Yeah, that said, there are a lot of snipers that just do not pay attention to the flirt at all. So if you're someone who's maybe worried about your pacing, you can actually sometimes get away with just like walking right up to your ST at the start, flirting with them, and then immediately walking away. A lot of snipers will just never see it.
Yeah, and I think it's just one of those things that, especially early on, and unless you're doing a 3 of 5 venue, I don't think you necessarily have to worry on the sniper side about flirt pairing. There's plenty of other things you can watch and kind of spend your attention span on.
Yeah, and so as we're just hanging around in conversation here, let's take a moment to point out one of the basics of ballroom, bugging. The spots that you might want to be in to get a bug is at the back of this conversation here, where we are with Kane and Twin, or in that other conversation where Rocker is standing. If you're standing there, or if the ambassador is standing there, that's one of your best chances to have enough occlusion to go for a bug.
Yeah, because like we said, we don't have a big shark in the way, but here we have small pillars, but also the conversation times are, giving you cover enough to go for a good bug.
Yeah, anytime the ambassador is at the back of any of the conversations really is a good bugging opportunity. So as the spy, I would suggest always paying attention for those and noticing when you have that opportunity. Here we have Met picking up the briefcase, getting a first fingerprint, starting to get worried about pacing here. We have a minute and a half left. Met is feeling the same thing and therefore
Ooh.
goes for center statues. I hope we're able to get all three inspects though, because Queen is next to us. You want to make sure that you inspect the right statue first in that case, but we weren't able to. She picked it up. We're only going to be able to get two inspects now. Met is not happy about that.
Yeah, that is definitely unfortunate. Because that means we're gonna have to go to statues again, and we don't have much time. Maybe if we had one earlier on, things would be different. But I think it's gonna be
Banana
kind of
bread.
hard to finish here.
This banana bread is definitely working out for us, though. There is a lot of other people in conversation. Unfortunately, we're the only conversation with a real BB. Real BB lights are very, very strong for the sniper. And oh, wow, Kajdan
Wow!
just taking a shot on
Woo!
us right here.
Now, what we were getting highlights here for was basically white BBs. If somebody was talking during that BB, they got a highlight. Now, the shot was definitely surprising. Yeah, it was definitely surprising shot, but it was spot on.
Well, you were talking earlier about mission tracking. There are a lot of snipers who advocate for, only take the shot once you think the spy has done four missions. So in this case, that's potentially what happened
Yeah,
here. Disney
yeah,
was at center statues. If he got that inspect before Queen picked it up, that would be inspects done. That would be the contact done. We assume he has the flirt done. Most snipers are just always going to assume the flirt is done. And we know he has one fingerprint, so
yeah.
maybe if we missed one, that's four missions done.
Yeah, and missing a fingerprint it's very reasonable, whether it was from a drink or from books. Yeah, we just noticed that briefcase. We noticed going to center statues. We noticed we're talking during the contact. So yeah, maybe not that ridiculous of a shot at all. Either way, it's the spy. It's another sniper win.
Yeah, the only thing that I would caution against, though, is if we look at the timeline, the banana bread was set at 55 seconds. That means that if the banana bread was the final mission, we would have until 45 to take the shot. And we actually take the shot at 41. In other words, if that was the spy and that was their last mission, they would have won already. If the spy does not win within 10 seconds of whatever thing you were considering shooting them for, that means that their missions are not done. And that means you have no reason to shoot and you
Hmm.
can actually wait until they do something else. So in this case, even though it was the correct shot, we are at school here. So I would be remiss if I did not point out that we could have waited for Disney to go and do something else, even if
Yeah,
that something else was just talking one more
yeah,
time.
flirting or talking in conversation. Yeah, I agree. There's basically like those two plans of action to say, hey, contacts happens. I have 10 seconds to take my shot. Do I think this is a spy? Once you wait past that, you're just kind of saying, all right, they have to do something else. Let's keep an eye on them.
Yeah, and just the more experienced you get as sniper, the less nerves you have, the more calm you are able to be, and the more you're able to say, okay, they just did something suspicious. Let me just wait, 6 or 7 seconds, see if I notice anything else, see if they do anything else. And, if after 7 seconds I'm still feeling good, I'll take the shot. As opposed to a newer sniper who might see something and just go, oh my God, are they the spy? I don't know. They might be the spy. I have to shoot now.
Yep.
Anyway, let's move on here to our next game. We have Kajdan here. The score is all tied up, playing as Red Dress in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and we have a tie game here, 3-3. It's really been a lot of back and forth. We've seen good spy games, we've seen good sniper games. We'll just have to see if either of these players can kind of get things on a roll and pick up some momentum.
Yep, and here we go. We are starting with that flirt. It's over here at a window. This
Ooh,
is
that's
one of
nice.
the few flirts that a sniper can catch. Sometimes I play against snipers who are not normally flirt trackers, but they do notice if you just walk right up to a window at the start. So I might say be a little bit wary of that one, but it's probably fine.
Yeah, it's both and. Can it be punished? Absolutely. Will it? Probably not.
So here we are, we're taking out a book. So we were talking about timing. Was this a good time to take out a book? And if we look at the ambassador, they're in a little bit of a crowded spot. They are at one of those danger spots I mentioned near the back of a conversation, so anyone could walk by and bug
Banana
them.
bread.
Here we go, doing the banana bread as well.
I think there was 6 lowlights available. So we'll see how many we actually get off from the sniper side. But there were 6 lowlights available there, and so that's something on the sniper side. The 2 things you kind of want to do is you want to say, I guess maybe 3 things. A, is somebody trying to bug right now after the contact? B, is somebody trying to purloin? And then C is like, who can I get to lowlight right now that's not in a conversation?
Yeah, unfortunately for us, the ambassador has really just not been moving, and the person next to them in conversation was a suspected double agent. So the sniper just didn't have much to watch. The ambassador is
Ooh.
not even going to take that drink, not even going to give us a print.
I will say though, that would have been a really good chance to do a reverse drive-by bug there, which is basically, oh, run into the wall there. But we start the bug when the ambassador is walking behind you. But here we go, jamming next to General, and I think we're probably gonna dump this book.
We did, but we picked up a highlight for it. Now, on the way there, we walked through conversation. Again, that seems to be a bit of a habit that Kajdan has, and we missed another pad back there. But this is what we're saying, trust that the sniper isn't seeing these things. Yeah, we're walking through conversation, we're missing pads. A lot of newer players, when they do that, might think, oh my god, the sniper saw it, I'm dead, I'm in trouble. But they just don't see things sometimes. You have to keep playing as if they didn't see it.
Yeah, and as we headed into the conversation before this, we insta-flirted and then stop-talked. And again, like you're saying, hey, the sniper doesn't see everything. We can get away with some of this stuff, and we're going for a purloin here as a highlight. Let's see if we can get away with this.
I don't think so. Ooh, Met had a little bit of trouble seeing the tray for a moment, but it does look like he sees it. It looks like he lines up the
Oh
shot,
my
but he doesn't get it
goodness.
through.
Wow, and I don't know if that was, it looked definitely like we were hesitating, like we're looking to see if maybe we could see it, or maybe we were debating, do we think Oprah's done? Maybe they were waiting to see if they could see just one more thing to confirm that it was Oprah there. But Kajdan gets a spy win there.
Wow, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Met didn't take the shot, but you can see the sniper laser moving over there. Sometimes this is just a little bit of, input lag. If you see that laser move over the spy right at the end of a replay with a second left, it can often mean that they were trying to shoot. It's just hard to see that tray. So, I mean, goes without saying, but I guess the only lesson to teach at the academy here for this one is if someone is a highlight and they have Toby behind them and you're in the last minute of the game, got to be hyper vigilant for that purloin.
Yeah, and I want to say on the spy side, I think doing purloin last like this, it can be really good because you activate that 10-second timer countdown. The sniper's trying to see what's happening. The sniper's debating, do they take the shot? Could it have been this person? So doing it as a last mission can be really strong too.
Yeah. Let's move on to our next game here. We have Met playing as Rocker, hoping to tie things back up. These players have been going back and forth the whole night. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and I think we really have seen fair play on both sides from both players, right? We've seen really good sniper, we've seen really good spy, and I think something I've noticed from them is that I think both of them really like the microfilm. Maybe more have like I think we've seen a couple bugs, but yeah, we're seeing a lot of microfilm.
Yeah, and it's mostly been working out for them. It worked out for them on Aquarium, and even in this case, even though Kajdan got a highlight for the microfilm last game, Met still wasn't able to take the shot. Here's another white test purloin happening. Oh, the sniper is completely zoomed in. This is a disaster.
That was such a hard zoom in. Holy cow. I mean, well timed, I guess, but do they zoom in like that for every drink take?
One of those times when like Met has been playing Rocker every time and we've missed it. I don't think so, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
That's a double zoom. That's locked in. But I mean, hey, at least you got to see the tray the whole time.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what kept Kajdan so dialed in there, but I guess there's nothing else to say about it. We have Marinda in chat saying they missed it. What was the tell there? So if we could just zoom in for a moment here, this is Purloin guest list, and while Leopard is taking a drink from the tray, you can see the white piece of paper on the tray, the guest list. You can see it fading away in slow motion.
Yep, and this is the same exact mission that in the last spy game. It's the last one we did. And it's the one that we won on as I think that was Kajdan, right? Kajdan won with the purloin.
Yeah. We are going a bit more advanced in this set, Spy Party 102, but do feel free to continue asking any questions in the chat. This stream is for you if you are the type of person who would need to ask questions. Let's move on then to the single picks. In this case, Kajdan has actually taken a lead, and now we're going to be seeing Terrace. And this is Kajdan's pick, which they chose because Met showed in their draft that they have a weakness for these 3 out of 5, 3 out of 6 venues. So Kajdan is going to be hoping to close it out here, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like so. The first venues we picked were ones that maybe we, as the spy or sniper, were comfortable on, and the second ones, yeah, as you were saying, seem to be counter picks. So we'll see if that plays into the favor of the players today.
Yeah, and like I said, when I see someone ban high rise like that, I'm assuming they are banning it because of the sniper side. I don't think they're banning it because they have trouble spying on it. I think they're banning it because they worry that they might shoot a civilian because that civilian seems like they are done. So if I'm Kajdan here, I'm going to try to play into that and I'm going to try to frame a civilian. And that might be what Kajdan is trying to do with this Purloin delegate that we're picking up.
Ooh, and something that I was talking about earlier for aquariums, that sometimes it's just better to go for highlights on people that go to bar, and it seems like that's what we're doing. We're highlighting people that go to bar.
Yep, I would say based on that, Kajdan should not try to go for the Purloin here. And you can feel this as the spy. If you're at the bar and there's like 2 other people there and you see the laser very obviously move over from your head to their heads, you know that the sniper is doing highlights for bar, and that means you should maybe consider not doing the Purloin. But in this case, Kajdan is going for it. Kajdan sent Seek to go to the bar and take the list. The list has now been taken, and we're going to be seeing Met's reaction.
Yeah, and I think this is a really solid reaction. We see a couple lowlights, a couple highlights, and I liked what Kajdan did. Oh, we get bumped to new back to highlight. But I liked what Kajdan did before they delegated. They gulped their drink. Now the reason why that's
Banana
good is
bread.
because as we contact into a double talk,
Oh, wow. We did the banana bread, and we just got immediately shot.
I think we double talked. I think we contacted and flirted.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We did the contact, and then I think we started talking
Banana
again
bread.
in order to flirt. So that's known as a double talk. And on Duke in particular, it's really noticeable because his talking animation starts with him putting his hand up to his mouth. So if you're in the middle of talking and the sniper sees your hand immediately like
Banana
jerk
bread.
over and go back up to your mouth like that, it can actually be very, very noticeable.
Yeah, and I think the only reason why maybe we got shot here is because we did the purloin already. And on a 3 of 6 venue where, everything's high stakes with every mission done, I think once you get the purloin done, you kind of have to play picture perfect. You can't break etiquette like that. You have to, pace things well. And so we get punished for something like that on, a small venue.
Yeah, and I think this shows us another important lesson about the smaller venues. On Ballroom, we were talking about how you can just go flirt and then run away. The sniper will never see it. The sniper is never watching flirt. Why? Because it's a big venue, there's 15 guests, and they have to be watching for 8 missions. But here, this is a smaller venue. There's only, less than a dozen guests, and even less of them are suspects. And there's only 6 missions to be watching for. So on Terrace, on high rise and on pub, the sniper is going to be watching your flirts. They're going to be watching your talks in conversation a lot more closely. So the things that you could get away with on a bigger venue, like that double talk, you might not be able to get away with here. And Kajdan has just learned that.
Absolutely.
Well, Kajdan still hoping to get a point here on their pick. Playing as sniper now, we have Met playing as Irish, green dress, in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and Kajdan's in a spot right now. If they can get at least another win, that puts them at 6 points, securing them at least a tie party or a point in the SCL. So that's definitely the goal. Obviously, getting to 7 would be the best, but we'll see what happens here.
And so we have the seduction target entering the conversation here. We get the flirt up to 25%. Now, the higher and higher up you go, the better the snipers will be at flirt pairing you here on Terrace. Like we said on Ballroom, you can go next to your seduction target and just flirt right away, but on Terrace, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, and so this is something that I think, especially for new players, and actually for a lot of players, briefcase is super hard to learn the proper etiquette for. There's just a lot to it, and so I think what we try to do there as Met is we know that small man is going to pick it up at the same time as us, so we try to bounce away, but we're actually the person that picks it up, so we like bounce away awkwardly while we're actually holding it, and briefcase really can be a mess as a new player.
Yeah, I mean, that shows great knowledge from Met because he was going for the very AI-like behavior, and unfortunately, it just doesn't work out. That's what makes it pretty risky. But of
Yep.
course, that means also if you do get away with it, there's more of a chance that the sniper will low-light you for it.
Yeah, and that's what we saw. Smallman got a low light for doing that bounce properly. So, it works
Banana
both
bread.
ways.
Here we go. We're doing a fake banana bread here. The double agent is in the other conversation with a few other guests. So Met thinks that it's a good time to go for a fake there. Those guests in the other conversation do get highlit for having a real banana
Wow.
bread. And Queen gets shot for it.
Now, I'm interested. Did Queen go to statues twice? Let's see. Statues once.
Queen was
Yes.
not in the conversation with the real banana bread.
Oh, that's good. So I was about to say, did go to statues twice, but was not in the conversation with the real banana bread. So hard shot, but yeah, you got to notice who's in the real conversation and who's not.
Yeah, and gosh, I'm looking at this. We did banana bread right after the double agent left our conversation, but I do think that we started the double agent contact action test after the double agent left. So we were purposefully doing a fake. And I'm surprised because Kajdan did take highlights for the real banana bread. And if you do that,
Banana bread.
someone who finishes inspects but didn't have the real banana bread, you might want to hold your shot.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, this is also one of the kind of the nice side being a spy on a 3 of 5 or a 3 of 6 is that a lot of times if you do contact, maybe somebody else did something, and so somebody gets shot as a civilian shot.
Yeah, now over here at 2 minutes 55 seconds, there is a moment where Queen does bounce around near the ambassador a little bit. She did pick up the highlight for that. She picks up the highlight after that bounce. So it's possible that Queen was credited with a bug, inspects, and flirt. And if that's the case, it is actually a very understandable shot.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, with that, Met has come out of Terrace not as behind as they were potentially worried about there. I think the score is now tied back up to 5-5.
Yep, going into our first 5 of 8. So we've got to see these players do a 4 mission game, a 3 mission game, and so now we'll get to see how they handle one of the larger venues in Spy Party.
Yeah, one of these players is going to be hoping to win both games in a row here so that they can win the set. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing a tie. Let's get started here with Kajdan playing as Pearls in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and so one of the bigger issues that we can see on a venue like this is pacing. And so, I like this. We're gonna add time just because you know what? On a 5 of 8 venue, it's just hard to know We're gonna add time twice. Is this Noob's ult?
Oh my god, 2 time ads at the start of library. I love it. And it's a time when you can really get away with time ads. There's a lot going on at the start of a library game, especially when you consider that the sniper can't see everything at once. They're going to be memorizing the statues while keeping an eye on the ambassador, while keeping an eye on the guest. And there's a windows everywhere. The window pad, in this case, just the railing, where you can time ad is just everywhere. So this is a venue where it's a lot easier to get away with time ads at the start. We go to the bookcase. We were 3 at a bookcase again, but we're not really noticed for it. And here we are going for a microfilm. The ambassador and Toby are both on other sides of the screen, so it's a perfect time for it.
Yeah, and we literally have an extra a minute and a half to play around with now, to slowly pace ourselves to do missions. And honestly, a lot of other people are gonna, become more suspicious as this game goes on as well.
God, it takes us a long time to walk all the way across the venue. We would really like to slot ourselves in next to Boots. Unfortunately, the slot to her right was taken. We could have fit into her left, but we were a little bit worried about pathing there. Oh, ooh.
Ooh.
Leaving that conversation looked a little bit weird. What was that?
I think we just did a kind of weird, awkward bounce out. And so I think that's a small thing, but we're definitely not going to just get into pathing here. But we ran into the double agent and it kind of knocked us around. So
Here we are going for the second
yeah.
half of the microfilm. Again, looking at the party, the ambassador is in a conversation over there, surrounded by people. Toby was on the other side. You are assuming that the sniper is going to be watching that ambassador very, very closely, and that's why it's a good time to do the microfilm.
Yeah, and I actually respect what Met does here. Met was kind of rotating the laser around and trying to, obviously keep the party in check, and wasn't sure if Pearls did one of the animations. So instead of just shooting spot on, it says, hey, I'm gonna give you a highlight. Not sure what happened there. I think I saw what I saw, but let's hold on for now.
Yeah, and now it's very important if you're the sniper and you see something like that, you don't want to start tunneling the person just in case they are an AI. You might think, okay, I'm pretty sure Pearl's microfilmed, I know she's been to statues, but that's just 2 missions. So you keep an eye on the rest of the party, you stay calm, and you just trust that if Pearls does finish missions, you'll see it, but until then, you'll just keep watching elsewhere.
Oh,
Bug right on screen!
No way. And I was so nervous about that. I'm wondering what was gonna... It looks like the sniper was just rotating around, maybe trying to see where the ambo was, but you would think as a sniper, if the ambo is right next to a highlight, you would wait there for a second.
Well, Pearl's lean was not super visible. When you bug, your character does lean over a bit. Some characters lean more than others. In that case, it wasn't super noticeable, but I'm still surprised that Met didn't see it. But this just goes to show you it's impossible even for the casters sometimes to know if the spy is a suspect. We thought Pearls was a suspect for the microfilm. She went to center statues, but she still got away with a bug, a standing bug right on screen. So take that as a lesson for when you're playing spy. No matter how many missions you've done, the sniper may still have no idea.
Yeah, and so the question now is, I'm pretty sure we'll probably try to do a contact. Question is, do we think we're gonna get shot for a contact?
I mean, I don't think it matters will you get shot for a contact, because I think you have to do it anyway. Like, you don't want to risk a purloin or a swap when you can just contact. The only other thing you could do here that would be very powerful, if you were able to get 2 fingerprints, you could do a silent game. That's what we call a game where you never speak the banana bread. A lot of snipers wait for that banana bread to shoot, because spies almost always do that mission. And so, oh god, I don't like leaving that conversation.
No.
That looked like we were gonna bug the ambassador there, even though we already had the mission done. But anyway, we are going for the contact here. There's not a ton of people in conversation. Oh my god, we tried to do a banana split and instead we cough. But that's also not seen.
What is happening? Oh my goodness. I was gonna say maybe we could do a pillar purloin, but I just don't know what's happening right now.
We requested a drink. Yeah, we wanted to do a purloin, but we changed our mind. Toby took too long to get to us, so we didn't do it. Now we're gonna request a drink here again. It looks like we're gonna be going for a purloin. My
Oh
God,
my
this party you would
goodness.
think would be very narrowed down from the banana bread. It doesn't happen though. We hit a green as well. Toby immediately bolts away from us.
Yeah, and we're gonna run away instead of trying to hide maybe behind that. I think are we gonna get a shot here? What's happening? Come on, come on, come on. No, oh, we get
Oh,
a shot.
wow. I was not sure at all if that shot was going to come off. If we hit a white purloin, I would have said for sure, but we hit a
Yeah.
green. But Met was on top of it after all.
Yeah, I think maybe if your last mission on library is purloin, maybe just if you could hide behind that pillar a little bit more, just stay behind that pillar. Because once you come out, you can think, okay, whoa, like that person was behind the pillar. There's a purloin in that kind of area. So I think maybe if you hide there, maybe it works better. But I think we were gonna get shot either way.
And do you think we would have won if we just did that contact instead of coughing away from it?
I'm trying to look because I don't know. I think at that point, instead of splitting, you should just stick the contact, you know? Unless we think we're really suspicious or really high, or like we think that, they saw this or saw this, and we have to try something cheeky, maybe then you go for a split, and maybe that's what Kajdan was thinking. But if you feel like you got some stuff off clean, just stick the contact.
Yeah, I mean, we were not shot for the cough. Maybe we got more suspicion for it, and that's what led to the purloin getting us killed, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think if we had just contacted, we might have just got the win there. And so again, that just brings us back to the idea that you really never know how much the sniper is onto you or not.
Yep.
I think in this case, Kajdan felt that he was a huge suspect, and that's why he felt he needed to go for a banana split. But I just don't know if he did.
Yeah, and I'd also say the opposite of that. Like on the sniper, even when maybe there was a lot of suspicion, Kajdan did a lot of kind of funky things that definitely could be punished on the sniper side.
Yeah, and just one other thing that I think we should touch on before we move on. If we go back to the moment here at a minute 40, that's when we are in that conversation in the back and the ambassador goes to the window pad behind us. We have already done our bug, and yet we take a path that to the sniper, look at this from the sniper side, really, really looks like we are bugging. So if you've already gotten your bug done, try to stay away from the ambassador as much as possible and try not to give the sniper any reason to shoot you.
Yeah, especially if you got a clean bug. Yeah, avoid doing bug paths beyond the ambassador.
All right, well, with that, Met has won 3 in a row. Kajdan was up 5-3, but now the score is 6-5 for Met. Met is going to be spying for the win here for that final 7th point in this best of 7. Playing as Ponytail, starting in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and definitely all momentum is in their favor here, but it comes down to one game, and this is a 5 of 8. 5 missions had to be done, so the sniper has plenty of options and time to catch the spy.
Yep, here we are. We're going to be starting off here at the bookshelf next to our seduction target. I think we're just here for the flirt. Notice how the ambassador and Toby were right there on the right side of the venue when we were at the right bookcase. That means it's not a time when you want to do a microfilm. You want to be trying to do missions when you are far away from the ambassador or far away from Toby.
Yep, and ooh, we're taking a little bit of play out of Kajdan's playbook, and we're gonna do a time ad, and we're doing it in the time ad spot on library too.
And so we do have a question in chat about flirting at a bookcase. So when you reach a bookcase, you want to pick the book up after about a second. So if you flirt before picking the book up, that flirt is going to take like maybe 2 seconds. So it is noticeable that you're taking too long to pick up the book. However, once you already have the book in your hand, you can just flirt, no problem. There's no tell.
Yep. So it's really just kind of that starting, and it's very similar to maybe statues or other places like that.
Yeah, and there are variable timings for how long a character takes to pick up a book or pick up a statue. There's like a range anywhere from like half a second to 1.5 seconds. So you don't really need to shoot people for picking up too fast or too slow unless it's like extreme.
Yep, and so we're picking up our first inspects of the game, which isn't too bad. I think plenty of people in the time, especially that we did a time at, are going to do inspects. We'll just have to keep in mind maybe which people are doing inspects or doing missions on the spy side and make sure we get a good contact in.
Yep, we're making good progress here. The flirt is mostly done. We do have partial inspects, but we have picked up a highlight for it, and all we have done is progress on the soft tells. We were talking about this a lot earlier, but it's generally a good idea to try to get a hard tell done before you are a highlight. In this case, we're doing a white purloin here. We are a highlight, but it is behind the pillar, so it's a little bit hard for the sniper to see it. And immediately after the purloin goes off, the first thing from the sniper is just moving off to the other side. No reaction. They've just seen it now.
Yeah, and the nice thing about maybe the sniper not noticing is that, we gulp the drink. It doesn't see us in hand. Maybe we're known for being in the conversation, but I don't think it's been noticed as us.
Yeah, gulping the drink after taking the purloin can be dangerous. If a guest takes a drink, they need to sip it 3 times before that drink goes away. Only the spy has the option to gulp the entire thing and get rid of it in one sip. That's what Met did here. If it was seen, it would be instant death. Ooh, I like
Oh
that.
my
Getting a bug
goodness.
as the ambassador leaves the window behind us. That is a very, very advanced bug. We call those
Holy cow.
reverse drive-by bugs.
Yeah, and I was gonna go back to the purloin. The payoff to gulping it is like you're if they
And the
don't
end of
notice
red.
it, you can get it done before it even happens. But we're going for a contact here. Wow, that was a sick game from Matt. That was sick.
That was a fantastic game. There was so much happening there that I could not even tell you all of it. That's the win for Met, though. But let's just go back and keep talking about this a little bit. Where do we start? We were talking about the bug on the ambassador. Let's go back and take a look at that. That was at the 2:30 mark. Let's go over a little bit of terminology here since we are still in school. The bell did not ring yet. You are not dismissed, even though the set
Mm-mm.
is over. Um, if you walk by the ambassador and bug them as you're passing, that is what we call a drive-by for, I guess, obvious reasons. You're driving by and doing it. If you do a bug while you're standing, but the ambassador is the one walking by you, we call that a reverse drive-by. And in this case, it's just one of the hardest bugs to catch. Your character is not seen moving. Uh, you're not even going to the ambassador. They're coming to you, and the arm that goes out is away from the sniper. So that was very well done.
Yep.
Now, what were you talking about, Tiefling?
Yeah, I was kind of talking about the whole idea of gulping a drink, where you know what, it's good to gulp again if you don't think it's noticed. If you think you can get rid of it before maybe the sniper even notices. The punishing side is it, if you're suspicious of somebody purloining and you notice maybe they gulp a drink, it is a hard tell. Like as you're saying earlier, they have to do 3 sips before it's done. So if you see somebody take a drink and it's gone in one, that's a hard tell. And so it works out for Met because it wasn't noticed at all.
Yeah, and we did have the chat reminding us to bring up an important lesson about Toby, the waiter. Whenever Toby comes to you and offers you a drink, you have 2 options on your action list, which is accept drink or reject drink. It doesn't matter which one you do, but it is important that you do one of them. If you wait about 8 seconds without doing either of them, Toby will give up on you. It means you've ignored Toby, and that is a hard tell. The party guests will always either accept or reject. So you got to do one of those two.
Yep. Uh, yeah,
That
they can walk away as well. You have some different things like that, but I think, yeah, Matt closed that out very well. Holy cow, what a spy game!
Yeah, I mean, I said at the start that I was, maybe hoping there would be mistakes that we could correct, but honestly, both of these players played really, really well. I would say the only real
And the
lesson
end of
that
red.
came up was maybe about walking through the middle of conversation. Again, it was rude. Guests don't do that. and again about being the third person at a bookcase. Be careful of that. But other than that, these two played like pros. They did really well. They had really good spy games. They did very, very advanced bugs. They showed themselves to be expert microfilmers. And the sniper play was, mostly on point. We definitely saw some wrong shots, but when we did, I think it was in very understandable
Yep.
situations where the spy had just done so well.
Yeah, and I think honestly, like a lot of the progress, like you said, there wasn't a bunch of crazy things we could point out. A lot of the progress for these players is just going to come through playing this season out, and I think we'll get to see a lot of growth from both of these players and being consistent on the spy and sniper side.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is I guess maybe if, we were playing against more experienced snipers, you might have had a bit more trouble with those microfilms.
Yep.
You also might have wanted to be a bit more careful with your purloin timings because some of them, if it was a white test, would have gotten us instantly shot. But I'm really just nitpicking. I'm supposed to be a professor, but these players were already very, very good.
Yep. I agree.
All right. Well, then, thank you everyone for attending. Class is officially dismissed. Make sure to leave your assignments on my desk on your way out. And thank you again to Headmaster Calvin for hosting for us tonight.
Yeah. Do a last reminder test next week, Wednesday. Make sure you're studying.
Yes. And for those of you who would like to enroll in the Spy Party Competitive League for extracurricular activity points, signups are always open. We do have a division for people who join in the middle of the season. We just put you in that division with all other signups. And so you'll be going against other newer players. If you are interested, you can just join discord.gg/spyparty. Feel free to ask in chat if you have any other questions. And other than that, thank you for watching, everyone, and have a good night.
Have a good one.